Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. I'm Ombra and today I will show you my tier list about the top 30 damage dealer troops. In this tier list I'm gonna rank the best 30 troops in terms of damage dealt in a battle. I'm gonna take in consideration the damage, the attack and also the skill of every single troops, and I'm gonna try to make clear for you what kind of troop you have to run if you wanna do DPS with the troops and not with the commander. Right now the meta is completely splitted on the direction of the damage dealer commander, but that doesn't mean you cannot run troop for doing DPS also. In this tier list you don't gonna have a bad troop for DPS because it's the top 30 of over 100 troops inside the game, so you're gonna have only the best S+, S, S-, A+, A-, and B+. First and start with the tier list, I wanna ask you to smash like on the video and also subscribe to my channel if you're not already. It's completely free and is the best way for support me. I wanna also remember you, if you're interested in other tier lists about commander and troops, I'm gonna leave you the card on the top of me, and also I invite you to join my Discord where you can find all the tier list and also the commander guides. The first unit I'm gonna talking about are the Alchemist, a unit with a good amount of damage, also elemental, but with the problem that this damage is a bit unstable. The Alchemist take a position on a S- with 68.2k of power. Then we have the Bone Knight, a cavalry medium unit and ranged that take a place on a A- with 53.2k of power. Then we have the Corsair, another evil unit that deals also elemental damage, with 52.7k of power, take a place on a A- tier. Then we have the Dale Watcher, which are very situational. They receive a lot of bonus versus beast and versus dragon, and also when they fight in a structure. According to all these conditions, they deserve a place on a S- with 68.1k of power. Then we have the Dunedain, which are specialized on counter the ranged unit. They take a place on a B+ with 51.4k of power. Then we have the Duelanding Warrior that take a place on a B+ with 50.6k of power. And we have also the Fallen, the T4 cavalry unit of Angmar that take a place on a B+ with 50.5k of power. Then we have the Half Troll, a unit that have a very good amount of damage, also a decent amount of sustain, and is also a good support cause inflict bleeding on the enemy. In terms of damage, take a place on a A tier with 55.5k of power. Then let's talk about the Herald, a small unit of the elves that have a good amount of damage but excel on counter attack. They take a place on a A- under the Corsair with 52.5k of power. Then we have the Hill Troll, a really strange unit that necessitates to receive 10 hits for start doing the real damage. They take a place on the bottom of the A- with 52.4k of power. Now one of the best units in terms of damage are absolutely the Keeper that take a place on a S tier with 72.1k of power. They not only do physical damage, they deals also focus damage, and if they fight versus a single type of unit also increase that damage. And talking about the best unit for damage in the game, we have also the March Warden in a S tier with 72.4k of power. This unit not only gonna be deadly in terms of damage, but also gonna carry the Pursuit effect that guaranteed the enemy cannot avoid that damage, and they also stun immune. So if you choose to run them, for sure you're gonna do damage. Then we have the Marshal, the T4 cavalry unit of Rohan. They totalize only 50.2k of power and take a place on the bottom of the B+. Then we have the Master Thrower, the only ranged unit of the Dwarf. They take a place on an A+ with 60.3k of power. They have great base damage and also great skill for increase that damage. Then it's the time to talk about the Morgul Arbalester, the best tier 3 unit of the Evil faction in terms of damage. They take a place on a S- in the top of that with 69.7k of power. The good amount of base damage, the extra poison damage they deal, and also the chance of follow up each round create a very solid kit for this unit. After them we have the Noldor Longshot that take place on a S between March Warden and Keeper with 72.3k of power. The Noldor Longshot attack, it's really really strange, cause they didn't perform basic attack. They launch volley in specific rounds that hit multiple targets and deals more damage, so they are more about bursts in specific round that damage over time. Then we have the Rider, a tier 3 cavalry unit that take a place on a B+ tier under the Fallen with 50.2k of power. We definitely can say there's not very good cavalry for doing damage. Then we have another tier 4 unit, the Ranger of the North, that take a place on a A class. They totalize 57k of power, and that is not so bad for a unit that already appear in the tank tier list, and with also one skill for protect one allied. Then we have the Ravager that take a place on a A- with 52.4k of power. Then we have the Reaper, a small tier 3 unit that have a good amount of damage overall and also a little burst for the last part of the battle. They take a place on a top of the A tier with 59.3k of power. Then we have the Seafarer, a unit that excel only on fight on the crossing, and if you use them in this kind of fight, you're gonna have a unit deserving the A tier between the Alt Troll and the Ranger of the North with 55.5k of power. Then let's talk about the Sentinel, a tier 3 unit of the Elves ranged that deserving the top of the A+ with 64.5k of power. They also have a skill for avoid the first instance of damage, and that can ruin a lot the plan of the enemy. The Sharpshooter, a very good unit for burst, a bit less strong in terms of overall damage. They take a place on a A tier under the Alt Troll with 55.3k of power. We have also the Sniper, very good unit for fight ranged unit. They take a place on a A tier with 55.2k of power. Then another very powerful unit are the Vanguard, that take a place on a S- tier with 69.2k of power. The fact they are also in a S- in a tank tier list let me realize the Vanguard are probably one of the best unit in general inside the game. Then we have another tier 4 unit of the Evil faction. We have the Warlord, a unit that can ignore part of the defense of the enemy and can also splash damage. They take a place on the middle of the A+ tier with 63.9k of power. Then we have the Wirewolf that take a place on a A tier under the Ranger of the North with 56.9k of power. And now first then show you the S+ tier, cause yes, I didn't show you the S+ unit for now. I'm gonna rank the last unit, the Wooz Hunter, a unit that take the top of the A- with 53.8k of power. So we have 28 units inside this tier list. You know it's a top 30, so there's still 2 units miss. And the first unit I'm gonna talking about are the Snagatrack on the S+ with 85.5k of power. This tier 4 of Isengard have an insane amount of damage, a bit unstable cause you have a minimum damage very low and the maximum damage very high, but is still overall fantastic. They have also a very good initiative, they are immune to the madness, and they have a buff for increase even more the damage dealt already really high. Snagatrack are the best normal unit for doing damage, but the unit I rank are only 29, that cause there's one unit better than Snagatrack, but is not a normal unit cause they are the Mumakil. With 102.9k of power, take the top of the S+ tier. Even if they have less damage on it compared to the Snagatrack, the fact that they attack 3 enemy formation each round give them the chance to deal an insane amount of damage. The problem with them are multiple, the very high cost in terms of resource, the long time for recruit that, also the fact that they attack 3 enemy but also 2 allied every time they attack, so you're gonna also damage yourself. But if you ignore all these things and you think only about doing damage, the Mumakil are the best unit for doing damage. Instead, if you care about that, you can still run the Snagatrack. This is my final tier list about the top 30 damage dealer units. Talking about the tier list, I think the units are pretty balanced in terms of damage. You have a lot of options you can run. The only problem with the damage dealer unit are the damage dealer commander are too superior compared to the buffer commander right now. So the problem is not on the unit, are just on the commander. Also, if we talk about evil versus good, the number of units of good and evil are pretty balanced. And if we talk about T3s in favor of the evil faction. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, just smash like on that and also subscribe to my channel for a future content. and let me know also in the comment what kind of video you wanna see in the future. Like always, I wanna also remember you I have an affiliated code with the game that give you the chance of buying gem from the side instead of buying that from the game, and if you use my code, the devs gonna recognize me a little commission and you're gonna support my channel. Like always, I wanna say you thank you for following me and see you in the next. Woo!